This episode of Performance Anxiety features Rachel Taylor Brown. We talk about her new album, Run Tiny Human, and the ideas behind it. We also talk about our mutual admiration of Seals and Crofts, little basketball, Slim Jim sponsorships, and how to overload a friend's toilet while on tour. Give her a follow on Facebook. Check out her website, racheltaylorbrown.com. Don't forget to give us a follow at PerformanceANX on Twitter and Instagram, and rate and review us wherever you listen to us. Helps us out a lot. Thanks a lot, and enjoy this episode featuring Rachel Taylor Brown.
So I'm just saying, hey, this is Rachel Taylor Brown, and you're listening to Performance Anxiety with Mark Shea.
If you want,
did I say that right?
Hi, this is Rachel Taylor Brown.
Did they do that? I'm glad you're not going to make me talk about sports.
No.
I mean,
unless you want to.
Well, I don't think I would know anything now. I was a basketball, like a Trailblazers fan for a while, but I don't think I even know.
Oh,
okay,
gosh,
Damian Lillard.
Okay.
And he's not even my favorite player. CJ McCollum. I think that was my favorite player.
Okay. And see, NBA is one sport that I don't follow very closely. And I'm in DC, so the Wizards just suck this year. I think they're tanking this year to get one of the crazy, insane kids from Duke this year. So in the draft.
Really?
Oh, the Wizards they're actually on a 3-game winning streak right now. But I think that's like their win total for the season so far. It's at most they've won like 5 games out of the first 15 or 20 they've played. It's disgusting.
They don't have to win anything with that name.
No,
they've already won, in my opinion. And I have to ask, where did that come from? Is this one of these teams that moved? Because didn't Washington used to have? Was it the Bullets?
They were the Bullets, and
they changed the name because of the name.
Yeah, they thought it was a negative connotation, but
it is kind of.
But
so is a Wizard.
Well, it can be, but if you think that the Bullets is a bad name, you've never been to DC. I mean, there are areas in there where that's a very appropriate name.
Yeah, it was kind of perfect.
Yeah, it's kind of like Detroit. It's gotten better. It's gotten better. I mean, I'm surprised the Detroit team isn't the Bullets, but DC's gotten a lot better. But I mean, honestly, to me, it's just a name. I'm cheering for the team. I almost don't even care what the name is. I mean, my favorite team in college. My favorite sport's college football, and my team is the Alabama Crimson Tide. And
well, that's like a really good team, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I live down there. My wife was born and raised down there. My brother graduated in '99.
Wow.
I went to Rochester Institute of Technology for photography. We didn't have a football team. So when my brother, but I love football.
That would be like the fighting cameras,
or the computer nerds or something. We were the Tigers technically, but we had a hockey team. We had hockey. We had baseball and rugby, and I mean, we weren't very good at any of it until a couple of years ago. I think the hockey team won the Frozen Four about 5-6 years ago, but that's about it.
I have no idea what that is, but it sounds impressive.
It's like the March Madness of like Division II hockey or something. I really don't know.
Tigers is a fearsome name.
It is.
I don't get Wizards. What does that have to do with Washington?
I don't know. Nothing. That's what everybody's issue was. First of all, it didn't sound intimidating at all. And then
no, not at all.
There's no connection to wizardry. I mean, maybe political wizardry in Washington. I don't know.
That's flattering to them.
Maybe that's what it is. But the Washington
Go Wizards.
The Washington Harry Potters.
Exactly.
See, I think that would be
Dumbledores.
Yeah, that would be more intimidating. I mean,
it's so humiliating, really. It's a terrible name.
Well, the worst part about it was that when they first changed the name, they also changed the colors because the Bullets were red, white, and blue. And they changed it to like... That makes sense. Yeah, well, when they changed to the Wizards, it was like white and purple. And it was just... Now, I wasn't living in D.C. at the time. I lived in D.C., in the D.C. area as a kid, moved away, and I never really got into basketball, so it really didn't bother me. But when I moved back, I started doing these podcasts with a really good friend of mine, and I got more into DC sports. I'm not a big fan of the Redskins or the Wizards, but I love the Nats, the baseball team, the Nats and the Capitals. I love those teams.
Well, they kind of got the names right too.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about the Redskins. Washington is. They're gonna have to choose like another lame. Like wizard-like name for Redskins.
You know what they should? I mean, they've thrown about Warriors, but I mean, the problem is that
like maybe the rhythmic gymnasts or something.
Oh well, synchronized swimmers for football. I don't know. I can't think of. There's nothing good's popping up right now. I'm at a dead end here.
I don't know though.
Anyway, I don't know. I've got nothing to say about the Wizards except I hope they get it. They draft one of the kids from Duke this year.
Well, it sounds like they're on their way.
Oh, they certainly are. Because they're absolutely atrocious. It's almost offensive to watch them play. It's disgusting. It's the worst basketball I've ever watched, and I don't watch a lot. So
we better not let anyone hear this.
Oh, this is going. All of this crap is going in. This is all going in because I don't care.
Poor Wizards. They're getting no respect at all.
I don't know what happened, but your screen just completely flipped. You're totally upside down now.
Mine's sideways.
This is so weird.
I'm upside down to you now?
Yes, you're completely upside
You're looking at me.
Oh
what?
God.
That just happened while I was talking?
Yeah. I don't know what happened, but it just flipped.
We were talking about wizardry.
Oh, that's what it was. The wizards were listening.
It was their revenge on our mean conversation.
They zapped the Skype machine.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's what you get.
Yeah. So you're not a big sports fan, but you're obviously a big music fan because that's what you do. When did you?
I don't even know if I'm a big music fan. Sorry.
Oh no.
Asked you finish your question.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't even know that I'm. Yeah, I guess I am a big music fan. But I'm not very up on it. Do you know what I mean? I love music and I like, but I don't listen to music a lot myself. And I have very few things that I like to go back to a lot, but then I do go back to them a lot. And so my listening tends to be more things that, I don't know. I'm a little embarrassed to say how little new music I know.
Well, that's not unusual, to be honest. I mean, and
really?
You like what you like, and you know, if I don't listen to the radio, I mean, my kids do, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you anything that came out in the past 5 years.
Not even the Taylor Swift songs?
No, because I'll get them confused with somebody else. I mean, I'll be able to recognize a song because when I'm in the car with my wife and the kids, the radio comes on and that's fine. And I can recognize the songs, but I won't actually be able to tell you who sings it. Now, there's a few exceptions, like bands like Fever Ray, Battles. There's a few bands that have come out recently in the past few years that I really like, but
I don't even know those names. That's embarrassing for me.
I'll give you a whole list of stuff you need to check out.
You should do that because I need it. So what do you sing when you go to karaoke?
Oh, I usually, it's funny you mentioned that. I don't do karaoke ever, but I did take improv classes.
Oh, really?
Comedy is something that I've always loved, and I've always had an issue being out in front. That's one reason why I went into photography was I could stay behind the camera and
makes sense.
And shoot and be the guy operating the camera instead of the person on the other side.
Sure.
Well, my buddy and I started writing, and we were writing scripts and all. And we have a friend out in L.A. who's one of the co-hosts on my podcast, not the Comedy Central producer, but he's the other guy. His brother's an actor out in L.A. and a fairly I mean, fairly successful one. He played Lex Luthor on Smallville.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
that's a tough gig trying to make it in LA. It sounds like he did it.
Yeah. He's done some great stuff. He was also he played Buddy Dobbs in Pastor. His name's Michael Rosenbaum. And
yeah, I know of him.
Okay, yeah, his brother Eric is on my podcast.
All right.
The sports one. And we had a mutual friend who introduced us, and he said, "Hey, you guys are." Our mutual friend said you guys were writing. Send me you some stuff. So we sent him some stuff, and he really liked it. Now, obviously, since I'm still sitting here doing a podcast with no sponsors for free, none of it worked out. But my buddy Mike and I decided, you know what would really help our writing is if we took some classes on. But our thinking was not that we should take script writing classes, but improv.
Okay.
I don't know why that made sense then, but
it kind of does. I get that. It would help with the freeing of the mind for the writing.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's exactly why we chose it. Yeah. And so we took the classes, and one of the first things they did was they do these exercises to loosen you up. And one of the exercises, I think this was the second class. They didn't want to spring this on us the first one because nobody'd come back. The second class, they have everybody in it, and there's like 20 people in the class. It's not huge, but there's enough. They put you in a circle, and one person goes in, and you have to sing. Oh, you're sideways.
You had to sing.
You had to sing. You could sing anything you wanted to. You could even make up a song if you wanted to. But you had to sing. And you had to sing until somebody else came in and tapped you on the shoulder and took over. And
that's brutal.
Yeah, but the exercise would not end until everyone got in. And so we could have sat there the entire 2-hour class and just waited for people and had one person sing for 2 hours if we were cruel. But we decided not to. And he said, "All right, we're doing this." He's like, "This is going to be a warm-up exercise that we're going to do every few classes, so you guys better get over your fear."
Oh.
And so we did, and it's funny because I'm like I said, I'm a big music geek. I've got in the next room, actually no, in this room that I'm talking to you in, I've got boxes. I have about almost 3,000 CDs right now.
Oh, yeah. I kind of love you for that. Nobody keeps their CDs anymore.
Oh, I do. I keep the CDs. I keep the jewel cases, all the artwork. I'm a big dork.
Yeah. I like the physical thing too, and I love that you're a big dork for that. Oh, that's great.
I need to be able to hold it, otherwise I don't own it, and then I need to be able to read who they thanked because I can find other great bands that way.
That's a good point.
So I've got all this music in my collection here, and I tap somebody. It's getting towards the end, and I'm like, I got to do this. I just got to get it over with. And I walk in and I tap whoever was in there, and I can't think of anything to sing. Like I
tapped before you thought of your song.
Yeah, because I figured I got to get this done.
Thinking?
I don't know. I just wanted to get over it.
You thought it would just come to you?
I figured something would come to me, and I'm thinking of all these obscure songs, and part of it was to get people to sing with you because you would start singing, and the rest of the group would recognize a song, and to support you, they will sing along with you, and that's kind of that's another point of it is that it shows teamwork. All right, the one person goes out there and starts doing this, and the supporting characters come in and support you. It's a yes and theory. Okay, you accept what they're doing and you build on it. And so you're supposed to go in there and you're supposed to sing, and they chime in with you.
You don't know any actual popular songs.
Exactly. I can't think of anything, and I'm like, I can sing something by the band Super Furry Animals or Devin Townsend but nobody's going to know this. And so I jump in. I'm like, I just start singing Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, that's a good one.
That was the only thing I could think of. And everybody's just kind of sitting there going, wow, that's the one you chose. And then
I think that's excellent.
The instructors comes in and starts joining in with me. And then everybody else starts coming in. And I made a vow to myself that day. I said, next time they do this, I'm going in and I'm just singing Happy Birthday.
No, Stairway to Heaven was good.
Well, that's what I sang the first time. But the second time I went in, I'm like, I don't want to go through that whole my mind blanking thing and picking out obscure songs from bands that nobody's ever heard of from 10 years ago. I'm picking something everybody knows.
So did you?
I did. And everybody chimed in and they sang and nobody had picked it before or on that one. So
that's kind of astonishing.
I was a winner there. Yeah, that's what I figured. If somebody picks it, I'll have to come up with something else, like Mary Had a Little Lamb or something. But
I think you should have just stayed on the Zeppelin trajectory. I would have loved that.
I should have gone with Black Dog and just started screaming that out.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Oh.
That would have been brilliant. And I think Stairway to Heaven. And did you start with There's a Lady?
No, because I couldn't remember that. The only thing that popped into my head was part about if there's a bustle in your hedgerow. I don't know why that one came into mind, but that's what that's the verse that came into my mind.
Wait a minute. What was that? I don't think I knew that. Is that the word?
Yeah, if there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. It's just a spring clean for the May Queen.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's Robert Plant. He was high. There's no telling.
Oh my God, how did you remember that? That's amazing.
Yeah, that's the verse I chose. It wasn't even the beginning.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm a big dork.
It took some moxie to just walk up there and tap someone though, and really not have your song chosen.
Well, and that's the great thing about going to those classes is that's I really kind of got over that fear, and so now I'll be at my day job and somebody will say something and I'll just bust into a song and start screaming at them, and it's a blast.
Wow, that's I don't know about that outcome.
Oh, I can't sing very well. I'm horrible. I have no talent for singing at all.
But
so,
you have the confidence now.
So I turned that into podcasts, which, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The podcast was a result of that class?
Yeah. The first one I did was basically just DC sports related, and we actually got onto the local affiliate of ESPN.
It's amazing.
And they eventually sold the station and dropped every single podcast that they were doing. So then we weren't on ESPN anymore, and I told
That's a bummer.
I told my buddies in LA about it, and they thought that was the best thing ever because Eric's like, I want to do a podcast with you. Okay, so let's do a podcast, and that ended up being 8 Ball Sports, which we're still doing. It's been a year and a half we've been doing it. So
wow, going strong.
Yeah, we've done 66 episodes as of this week.
That's a lot. And they just hook up with you from LA. That everybody just
well, Tommy's
hears each other.
Yeah, Tommy's got his own setup. So he records his end, I record my end, and we used to be 2 people on this end, me and my buddy Mike, and then 2 on the left coast. And Mike had his job got a little more demanding, got a better position, and he doesn't have the time to do it now. So it's just me here, and then Tommy and Eric on the west coast. And they record their end, I record my end, and I mash it together in the computer, edit it somewhat, and then release it.
How frequently?
Every week.
Wow, that's
once a week.
A lot of work.
And I do this one every single week as well.
Wow.
I have a wonderful wife. She's a saint. Because, in fact, it snowed today. You and I were speaking earlier, and
you said the kids were out.
Yeah, I had to actually call out of work because I made it about halfway, and I couldn't. I have to go over a mountain to get to work, and I couldn't do it. My car wouldn't make it.
Oh wow!
So I turned around and came home, and and I've been working on researching for this show, and also doing editing for the sports show to get that one out today, and. I told my wife, she actually made it to work because she works in town. I work 45 minutes away. And she actually had to go in today. So I said, I'll work on dinner. And I got dinner started. And she's actually in the process of finishing it right now.
She is a nice wife.
She is. She's a saint. Beverly, I love you.
Oh.
She's a sweetheart.
Beverly, he loves you.
So with all that being said, at what age did you start playing music?
Oh gosh, 2.
Wow, really?
Maybe younger. That sounds so bogus, but it's true. I grew up after 4 brothers who had bands, all of them, and who were musical. And my brother Jeff played the piano. My brother Joe played piano. And that was what drew me the most, because that was in our living room and they would play it and I'd want to go play it after they played it. And so I started picking up like probably just little melodies and things that my mom and dad might have sung or my brothers sang around the house, or what I heard on the radio. I would just start learning them and trying to pick them up on the piano by ear. So really, really young, I started working on the ear, without meaning to. Right. I just wanted to play things on the piano. I didn't have any lessons. And so I just started trying to pick things out. And, and then I got my mom put me into lessons when I was 6, and that was horrible because I didn't want to learn to read, and I had a good ear by that time. And so I would cheat in my lessons.
Oh no.
And I really didn't learn to read music until I was forced to, I guess, later in high school.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. But before that, I would learn a bunch of things by ear on the piano, and I played in, grade school talent shows. And I believe I played Muskrat Love in a talent show.
Captain and Tennille?
Oh, thank you very much. Yes.
Wow. All right.
It was a very moving moment, but as all there could attest.
Oh my gosh.
That was such a treacly, horrible song. I didn't try to do the little road sounds or anything.
Oh, good. I remember that song. I remember when that came out. I was little and my mom loved it. She played it all the time.
Did she really?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. My mom is who first got me into music. All my first records came from her. She would buy the record, listen to them, and then move on to something else and give him to me and my brother. So we
Captain and Tennille.
Oh God! Well, here's my record collection at age 8 was Beatles, Rubber Soul, Elton John's greatest hits, Seals and Crofts, Alan Parsons Project.
But these are great.
Oh, I know. I loved them.
I learned
Beatles Revolver.
Revolver's like one of my favorite.
Oh yeah,
of the Beatles albums. Well, and Rubber Soul.
Led Zeppelin 4. So Stairway to Heaven.
See, that served you well later on.
It sure did. Little did she know she was going to save my ass in improv one time.
That's right. And Seals and Croft. I'm sorry, that they're like a really underrated band. You're laughing at me, but if you listen to the chord changes in Hummingbird in that song, they're insane.
I've got to go back and re-listen to it because the only song I can honestly remember is Diamond Girl.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's the only one that I remember from that album. I remember the cover.
Girl, dear thing.
Exactly.
You sure do shine.
See, now we've got that, and I'm going to release that as a Rachel Taylor Brown bootleg. Rachel Taylor Brown does Seals and Crofts. One song, 10 seconds.
I do have like a soft spot for them. I can't remember a whole lot of what they did, but I know that Hummingbird song, I actually looked it up recently because the chord changes in it, especially in the outro as they're kind of ending the song, I think crazy. They really did weird, very, very unusual things.
I'll have to check that out again.
Yeah, they're worth a second listen, I think. But Elton John, you mentioned too, that was a big one for me. Those were the songs I would try to pick up by ear, were Elton John and William Joel songs.
Oh, that was a big one for me too. I love Billy Joel. My son, he's 14. He's a huge Billy Joel fan.
Really?
He's got all my old Billy Joel vinyl.
So do you have? For me, it was the early albums because my sister lived in Massapequa. My sister-in-law grew up in Massapequa, Long Island, and
Long Island. It was better than you think.
I tried, but anyway, she was living there and growing up and going to high school when Billy Joel was playing around there, I think.
Oh wow!
And so she just gave me all these really early albums, like Street Life Serenade and
Oh.
Turnstiles. Well, I guess those aren't that early, but
Well, those are pretty early for him. I mean, it's not Cold Spring Harbor where they
Right.
released it at the wrong speed.
yes, he sounds like he's got this weird vibrato, chipmunk vibrato going on.
That's because when they released it, they mastered it at the wrong speed.
Is that why?
Yeah, and then he released it at the correct speed years later, like in the 80s or 90s when it came out on CD. They corrected it.
I never knew that, and I thought, wow, listen to how he's evolved as a singer.
See, music geek. So yeah,
that's actually a really vital piece of information because that was strange when I first, and I didn't like that album because of the weird vibrato.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why he ended up going and playing in bars for a couple of years after, which is then why he wrote the song The Entertainer.
This is all revelation to me because I thought for sure that he put out that album and someone came up to him and said, "Hey, Billy, yeah, great album. It's really great, but
God, you suck.
You might want to sing with a straighter tone."
Yeah.
And then he was like all self-conscious for a couple days and like, "Can I swear on this show?"
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So then he was like, "Fuck off." And then he would go off.
Yeah.
And he'd think about it for a little while and he'd be in his room singing and going, and then he'd think about it some more. And, like when a good friend tells you something and it hurts, kind of, but they're doing it out of kindness.
Mm-hmm.
And, so he kind of realizes my friend's trying to help me out here. And then he went and he started singing without the, and then he became a big star. And that was the story of Billy Joel in my mind.
Oh, I've ruined your story though.
No, I mean, it's just added to my story.
Okay.
But how fascinating. That's a pretty bad goof.
Yeah.
To have mastered something or put something out in an album at the wrong speed.
Well, I think the record company did it on purpose. And that's what pissed Billy Joel off.
Why?
Because that's not what he sounded like. And I don't know why they actually did it. I think maybe, I don't know. I don't honestly.
No, that's what I meant. Why would you do that? Was he a dick to them or were they just being dicks?
I don't know. I'm not sure if they thought maybe that would make him sound more attractive to a younger audience or.
Who?
I don't know. That's just me throwing that BS out there.
We all know the young people love.
They love chipmunks. The chipmunks were very popular at that time.
Yeah, that's what we all in our youth.
We love.
We're all drawn to that really super goat trill kind of vibrato.
Who doesn't love Alvin, Simon, and Theodore though?
Well, I do.
Exactly.
Yeah. What can I say?
But that's one reason why the album wasn't available for so long.
Well, that's very interesting. That's a really enlightening little bit of information, and it's changed my whole. It's kind of rocked my world.
Oh wow!
Man. But those two were very, very big for me. Elton John, like Goodbye to Yellow Brick Road album, and the one with Someone Saved My Life Tonight.
Oh God, I don't remember. I grew up on the greatest hits, so I gotta think about it.
That was on your greatest hits, I hope. Was that on the greatest?
No, that was on. That's not. That I don't think so.
That's a travesty.
It might be on Volume 2, which I didn't get until later. I don't remember. Was it Captain Fantastic?
Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy.
I'm trying to remember his albums.
I don't think it was on that.
I'm trying to remember.
Don't Shoot the Piano Player?
That's definitely an album.
That might have been it.
I don't know.
But yeah, I learned all those by ear. That was like training ground for me because those two were such big piano guys,
Oh yeah.
And so that really, I learned scenes from an Italian restaurant by ear.
Really? That's one of my favorite Billy Joel tracks, and my son's too. Yeah,
and I actually learned it from vinyl, so I dropped the needle over and over and over again to learn that.
That's amazing. Good.
I can still play it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's awesome.
It's so melodramatic, isn't it? It's like I love that song.
It's so Long Island. That song typifies everything about Long Island.
I liked saying Brender.
Yeah,
really
Brender and Eddie.
Me.
Yeah. That reminds me of my grandmother. Everything with my grandmother, she had an idea. But she was born in Brooklyn. Her parents are Norwegian and moved over here and lived in Brooklyn, and she's from Brooklyn. So she had this interesting mix of like some Norwegian accents from her parents when they were teaching her how to speak, but also Brooklyn.
It's so much more interesting. I lived just 4 years in South Connecticut, just like a half hour away from the city.
Okay.
And I really loved the color of the voices, because it was like in Oregon, I'm born and raised here and have lived here all my life except for that little bit of time. And it was so funny. We'd have all these messages on answering machine at that time.
Oh, God.
This was before voicemail. And you get a call from a relative or a friend in Oregon, and people sounded like they spoke so slowly, for one thing. And I realized too that we do have an accent over here. If you talk to some people who've grown up in rural areas around Portland and in Oregon, it's almost a southern drawl. It's just a really slow kind of delivery, kind of a little bit of a lazy mouth. And
okay.
But otherwise we're pretty generic, American newscaster sounding. And I love the accents. I loved all the different accents that I came across when we were on the East Coast. You could hear it in the different ones, the different dialects and things in New York City. And then you'd go up to Boston and you get a whole new thing.
Boston.
And you go up to Canada, up to Cape Breton and Halifax area and then to Quebec. And it was so colorful, and you just made us sound bland as hell over here, which we are.
I lived in New Jersey for 13 years, and there's definitely
that accent I love. I love that accent.
Jersey.
Yes, I really like that accent. Oh man,
yeah, it's its own beast, that's for sure.
Well, I worry about it going away. Have you noticed it? Are people still speaking with strong regional accents?
Oh my gosh. In certain areas, like in New York, New Jersey, you're never going to get rid of that. I don't even know what the accent is called, but the South has the twang, the drawl. I don't know what the Northeast has. It sounds like pizza. I don't know.
It sounds like pizza. You know what? That was evocative. That really made sense, actually.
Well, that's the only thing I could think of to describe that accent. I mean, it's or a cheesesteak, whiz, whiz, or I don't know. I hate Philadelphia. Anyway.
Whoa.
I do. I'm not a big fan of it. Philly is a great town if you took everybody out of it.
We didn't get over there. That was like one of the major cities that I wanted to see and that I never got to.
It is a great town. It's got some amazing landmarks. When I grew up in Jersey, I was in central Jersey, so I was an hour from New York City and an hour from Philadelphia.
No, wait, that's like the real gardeny area.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
Because I was stunned. I had no idea how beautiful New Jersey is.
Oh yeah, there were farms everywhere where I grew
up.
My
gosh, gorgeous, just beautiful state. I had no idea.
No, everybody thinks it's the Turnpike and the Parkway, but there's a lot of rural areas there, and it's actually a beautiful state if you can stand the awful roads.
Yeah,
the roads are terrible. But anyway, so at what point let's go back to you here. This podcast is becoming more about me, and that's so weird. But at what point did you decide that you're a professional musician?
Oh man. That's a question, because long after I was performing music professionally as a classical singer, because that's where I really got my first professional gigs, I would say.
Okay.
I majored in music, wound up majoring in music in college, and I was still pretty new to what do you call it, legitimate instruction or whatever. I had a choir teacher who spoke to my parents and said, oh, there's this great singer in town, Metropolitan Opera winner who had come into town who was teaching lessons. And I recommend you get your daughter in lessons with her. And that was my senior year in high school. And so I had like a year of instruction and then started auditioning for music schools.
Oh, wow.
And got a scholarship, got in and everything at University of Oregon School of Music and Dance. And I got out of that. I just kind of, putzed around. I was terrified the whole time because I felt like I'd faked my way in. I was like, it wasn't that I didn't have natural ability, and I knew I did, and I'd been doing music all my life. But, I'd sneak into the practice rooms and I'd play, the Beatles and Elton John and things. And I'd try to avoid the work at hand as hard as I could. I would avoid practicing because it made me nervous. I felt like each time I achieved something, like winning a scholarship or being asked to do some, great piece or something, or a composition recital or a recital of any other kind, I'd think, oh God, how did I get here? And then you'd be all excited kind of, oh yeah, I won. And then shit, because now I have to practice and be good.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, the feeling inside of me at that point was, it's a fluke every time this happens. I didn't feel confident enough in my abilities or in my technique, as a classical singer, as a soprano, to feel like I'm marching in and I know what I'm doing. And there were a million people like that down there, who'd actually been studying voice for a long time and who could legitimately feel confident. And I felt like this hack who was maybe naturally talented as a singer, but I really didn't know what I was doing. And then I'd win or achieve something and it would freak me out because I wasn't mentally there. I wasn't ready to step into that. And plus I was, besides being freaked out, I was going to make a joke and say I was lazy. I'm really not lazy. I think I was willing to work hard, but I just didn't, the whole technical thing, the technique thing, it just freaked me out. I would even distract my voice teacher in the lesson.
Oh, really?
She was to most people, this terrifying figure, Extine Bailey. She was a wonderful, wonderful voice teacher. And she was like, she walked around like a ship. She was just sort of, she had this always very set hair and she was imposing and she was a wonderful, wonderful singer, but she terrified people. And I usually get along with people like that pretty well. And so I was her student. She was the one who asked me specifically to come down there. And I realized I could, even with her, as stern and forbidding as she could be, I could ask her if she wanted to have a cup of tea in our lesson and then get her talking and then we just chat and I could chat the lesson away.
Oh my God.
And then, so I just sabotaged myself at every turn. Long story short, I didn't take full advantage, but lo and behold, when I got out of school and after, I had been over east for that little period of time, I came back, a friend of mine from school who is a singer had started this wonderful choir called Capella Romana, which is kind of world famous now in this really
I'm familiar
weird
with them.
niche. Yeah. They do Byzantine chant and Russian, these massive Russian Baroque pieces and contemporary Greek pieces. And it's really.
Did they have a Christmas album out? Because I think I think I have that.
Oh, I might be singing on that one, depending on which one you have.
I'll have to dig that up because I import this stuff onto my computer and then it just stays on there. And so I'll be listening to stuff randomly and all of a sudden in the middle of July, a Christmas song will come up.
Oh, that's terrible.
And so
I hate that.
And so I'm pretty sure that happened recently, and it was Capella Romana. So I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, but if it was a Capella Romana Christmas album, you wouldn't recognize it as a Christmas song. Yeah. It would just be like, what is this?
Well, see, I love that. I love that. See, I actually I go to the traditional Latin Mass, and so
nice.
I love the Latin singing, the chants, and the Gregorian. It's just it's just so beautiful to me. But
yeah, there's a beautiful choir in Portland that's also kind of famous called Cantoris and Ecclesia that goes around and does that. You would love them. They're really wonderful choir.